We already know we are back at it. We are back at it. Let me go ahead, and I think I need to share this screen. I'm already sharing, so we're good there. We are good there. Let's see what's going on. Let's make sure we're live over here on the other side, and it looks like we are. So now we can get this popping. So you guys already know what time it is. Before we get into it, gotta do the disclaimer and the disclosure. So please note that the following is not legal advice and is provided for informational and educational purposes only. Investing in securities carries a high degree of risk and can result in the loss of your entire investment. You should consult with a qualified financial advisor or legal professional before making any investment decisions. The information contained in this presentation does not constitute an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments. Any opinions expressed in this presentation are subject to change without notice and should not be relied upon as a recommendation to buy or sell any securities. Please do your own due diligence and research before making any investment decisions. Y'all know. Okay, so we already know why we're here. We're here to talk about NVIDIA. How did it work out? Did anybody trade NVIDIA today? Did anybody play earnings? Very interesting day because before the market closed yesterday, the NVIDIA contracts, at least the ones that were expiring tomorrow and next week, were all 130% plus IV, implied volatility. Yo, what's up, Justin? What's going on, Gene Balsam, Bino Trene, Anna James in the building. Thanks for coming through, Anna. Okay. Barry, Skin Deep Originals, Michael. Thank y'all for coming through, running up the likes already. We're running up the likes. So we're just doing a quick recap. Won't be on here too long. We're going to take a look at how NVIDIA performed that first day after earnings, after their 10-to-1 stock split. Let's see how the stock did. And then, of course, if you're new to my TikTok, I always like to go over my trades that I alerted to my Discord community and see how they played out, just to do a little bit of a review. So we already knocked out the disclosure and the disclaimer. Let's go ahead and go look at what were the trades that I spotlighted for the community. All right. So if we go over to the trading chat room in my Discord. Now here's the thing. If you were on my live yesterday, then the trades that I spotlighted were actually talked about on yesterday's live. So we spotlighted them on yesterday's live. Let me see if I can find them. All right. So this is me breaking down the NVIDIA stuff. All right. So here it is right here. And this was at 3:25 a.m. So just a reminder for everybody that's new. I'm in California. I'm on the West Coast. And so the stock market opens for me at 6:30 a.m. So this was about 3 hours before the stock market opened. And I mentioned this on my live yesterday. I've got my eyes on GOOG, that's Google, for the same type of setup as XLF. So this is the same thing I've been trading all week. The same setup I've been trading all week has been coming through. I said, key will be patience to wait for the right entry, looking for a strong candle bouncing off the down trend or the downward line. So here's what it looked like. Let me move myself a little bit out the way over here. But here is what that looked like. So basically all I was waiting for was Google to bounce off this line to take puts to the downside. And it was the exact same thing for Amazon right here. Same thing. Amazon has been in this downward trend, and I was looking for it to bounce off the downside right here. So those were the two things. Mr. O-Dog says, what size is your screen? Sorry about that. So I'm actually on my iMac computer. I got my phone. You guys can kind of see it right here. My phone is pointed to my iMac desktop, and so I have to shrink everything down so it fits on this phone on TikTok for you guys all to see it. So my bad, Mr. Ozdog. Appreciate Anna so much. Joe Francisco, what's going on? Ruben Zamora, what's going on? Let's see who the top viewers are. Mr. Ozdog, Holistic Henry, what's up, my guy? Peacemaker 22, Ian Polk, Todd, and Angel. Thank y'all for rocking with me. But like I said, so those were the two plays that I called out hours before the market opened up. They're the exact same setup that I've been trading every week. So with that being said, you don't have to make trading super complicated and super simple. I'm pretty sure, super intricate, pardon me. You can keep your trading simple. And so I'm pretty sure those of us that are new to trading or you've been learning a bit, yo, Angela Shelley, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I see you. Big salute. But what I'm getting at is you can have a very simple trading strategy. It's no knock to anybody who uses more complex concepts, but you don't need that. All I used was simply support and resistance and this trend line to the downside, and I've been playing that all week. I've done it for a ticker symbol XLF, did it for Google, did it for Amazon. It has been paying off all week. So you guys can see it here because I like to show you all the receipts. So in my Discord community, there was a request that I put the screenshots whenever I get into a play, so that way it's not mixed up in all the regular chats and all that kind of stuff. But here we go, right at 640 when the market opened up, I showed that I entered these puts on Amazon, and then of course I showed when I took profits. This was a super fast scalp. It was only a few minutes, but I had already given the heads up on what the play was going to be like. Appreciate the likes, Angela. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's go take a look at both Amazon and Google. And then, of course, we're going to look at NVIDIA and see how crazy that was with the run up. We actually did a breakdown and an analysis of how the contracts were impacted by implied volatility. So if you got any questions about some of that, we're going to talk about it in just a moment. But let's go look at TradingView to see how Amazon and Google played out. Here we got a nice little sneak peek on, this is the 15-minute chart on NVIDIA. Pretty crazy, but let's go to Amazon first. Now, me personally, I like to trade on the 30-minute chart. So this is exactly what happened with Amazon today, as y'all can see. Exactly what I was looking for. Very, very simple. Yo, Java, thanks for the follow. Holistic Henry says, that's a good strategy, bro. Man, I really appreciate it. It's nothing over the top. It's nothing that I'm saying I invented. It's been around for a long, long time. Just playing it over and over. So let me make sure I'm on the right day. Let's bring this over here. All right, so here we got 523, 523, 523, boom. So here's 523. The market opens. Amazon bounces off of this downward trend line. You can see it touching. Look at my screen, y'all. You can see this, it bouncing off of this downward trend line every day this week. So I went ahead, waited for it to come up here, caught some puts, and then just wrote it down a little bit. And I'm not a greedy trader. I don't need to have a home run or a grand slam. I like my profit targets, especially if I'm doing a scalp. When I'm scalping, I like my profit targets to be around 5 to 10%. If I'm doing a swing trade where I plan to hold the trade for a day or maybe a couple of days to a week, then I like to aim for 20 to 30%. But this was a super simple trade. I plotted out the downward trend line, waited for it to hit this line and reject, and then just caught it to the downside. Big shout out to Anna for the roses and the lightning bolts. Thank you. Hunty, thank you for the follow. I see you. Juan Rodriguez, thank you for the follow. Lost Boy 555, I appreciate that. Thank you for the follow. So that was pretty simple. Hunty says, as an investor, what do you hold? Good question. Thank you so much, Hunty, for that. I like to talk about trading, but my biggest passion is long-term investing. The whole purpose of my Discord community, which is called Passive Income University, is simply to teach people how to take profits from trading and then invest in something long-term, whether that's the stock market, whether you get into real estate, or you open up a side business, whatever the case. So if you join the Discord community, you get live updates on my trades as well as my long-term portfolio. And I have a channel right here that is dedicated to my long-term portfolio right here. And so we'll open it up and we can all take a look at everything that is currently in my long-term portfolio. I have a public link that is available for everybody to access at any time. Let me shrink this down so we all can see it. And give me just a moment. All right. So here is my long-term portfolio. Let me just shrink this down a little bit more so we all can see it. So we had a question from Hunty. As an investor, what do you hold? So let me go ahead and bring this up a little bit. All right. So here are my holdings. I got to shrink this down a little bit more. So in my portfolio, geez, I've been trying to get good at creating some good visuals so that if you're in my community or if you get access to my public link, you can see this. So I have Microsoft, Apple, ADP, Caterpillar, AbbVie, Visa, Main Street Capital, Costco, Booking.com, and then we got one down here, which is Google. I just opened up a long-term position in Google. So those are my long-term positions that are in my portfolio. And then you can see my holdings. My biggest holding is ADP. followed by Visa, and then Microsoft, and then Apple, Main Street Capital, AbbVie, Costco, so on and so forth. And then we got my projected annual dividend income. So just wanted to show y'all that these are my holdings. And so basically my investing thesis, my long-term strategy for my portfolio is to find the top 2 companies in every sector. So if you're kind of new to the stock market has 11 sectors. There are 11 sectors in the stock market. So you got consumer discretionary, consumer staples, industrials, materials, healthcare, financials, so on and so forth. Because there are 11 sectors, I just want to find the top 2 companies in each sector. So my portfolio eventually will be around 22 companies. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is just to push myself to be diversified and to become really knowledgeable about what I think or who I think are the best companies in each sector of the stock market, which causes me to be more knowledgeable. So I hope that answers your question, Hunty. But if you have more specific questions about my portfolio, I'm down to answer those too. Yo, Melissa, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I see you. Ian Polk, thank you for the follow too. But let's get back to what we were talking about. So like I said, we've been trading the same strategy, the same setup this whole entire week in my Discord community. We found a few tickers, XLF, Google, and Amazon, that have had this daily downward trend to the downside. And all we're waiting for is for price to bounce off of the line on the downward trend and then catch puts to the downside. That's what we've been doing all week. And so we can see the exact same thing with Google today. Now, Google was a little bit different because it did have an initial spike this morning when the market opened up. I think part of it was because Google has a pretty strong partnership with NVIDIA. And so there was probably some implication there that it was going to get some of that benefit. So this first candle here was pretty crazy. But then it came back down and then it bounced off the trend line. We got into puts, took the puts really quick, and then continued and just got out. Like I said, you don't need to be greedy. As soon as my profit targets are hit, I'm in and out of there. In and out burger. Hunty says Amazon's Prime Day is coming up. That's what's up. Yo, Melissa, I see you. Thank you for the follow. Amazon Prime Day is coming up. Gotta be on touch for that. Gotta be on point. So a good thing to do for new traders out there and new investors, you want to go back and look at the charts and see how Amazon's stock price did on Prime Day and then on the subsequent days after that, like especially around earnings time, maybe a month later. So that's what I would do. I haven't even done that yet, but that's a good idea that just popped in my head from Hunty. Go look at Amazon's historical Prime days and then see how does the stock do on the official Prime Day. Anna, thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate you. You're always taking care of me. Much love to you, Anna. Much love. All right. So let's talk about NVIDIA. And if anybody has any questions, if we want to go over those trades, those recaps, please let me know. I'm definitely down. I'll say it one more time before we get out of here. So we saw a few tickers this week that had a daily downtrend. And all we had to do was wait for the price to touch that line and then catch puts to the downside. Keeping it very simple. Yo, Chris, what's going on? All right. So we can finally talk about NVIDIA. Let's look at this 30-minute chart. Look how it went. So drop a 1 in the chat if you played NVIDIA today. Drop a 1 in the chat if you played NVIDIA's earnings. All right, Torrance Brunt, when do you think Amazon Prime Day may be? So you can actually just Google it. All you got to do is Google that. We'll go to the internets. We'll go to the internets right quick and just Google what day is Amazon Prime Day. All right, boom. And according to the AI that's integrated with Google, Amazon Prime Day 2024 will be held in July, but the specific dates have not been yet announced. Based on previous years, it expected to take place during the second week of July, possibly July 9th or 10th or mid-July. So there we go. We got people who played NVIDIA. Torrance Brunt, shout out to you. Holistic Henry played NVIDIA. And then we've got a little bit of info from Lang Bachelor the 4th, July 12th and the 13th. Hunty, thank you so much for that like. Jessica Alcala, I see you. Thank you so much for the follow. Big shout out to you. So back to what we were talking about a moment ago. We were just taking a look at NVIDIA. That's my long-term portfolio y'all just saw. But here we go. So NVIDIA, just like we were expecting, they beat earnings. they announced a 10-for-1 stock split. So if you don't know what that means, basically for every 1 share that you own of NVIDIA, it's now going to turn into 10 shares come June 7th. If you own half a share of NVIDIA, so 50% of a share, that's going to turn into 5 shares on June 7th. If you own 2 shares of NVIDIA, that's going to turn into 20 shares on June 7th. Just to kind of break that down for the new followers out there. Holistic Henry says, what times do you usually go live, bro? Yo, man, I get this question all the time. I really wish I had a consistent answer, but I do work a full-time job. I'm not a full-time trader yet. So whenever I have a space in between my job, I hop on live. And so lately it hasn't been too consistent. I always just try to pop in here when I can. But the dope thing is, if you join the Discord, you get an automatic alert when I go live on TikTok. Or you could just follow me on TikTok and it gives you the alert too when I go live. But right now I don't have a consistent dedicated time. I've been trying to build one out, but my work life is so versatile and it's so spontaneous, I haven't been able to do that yet. Yo, Manuel Solis, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming through. All right, so the interesting thing that I wanted to take a look at, me and one of my members, big shout out to her. She know who she is. I don't want to put her out there just in case she wants to stay personal, but me and one of my members in my Discord community, we were talking about the implied volatility with the NVIDIA contracts. So I really wanted to, I think we all know a little bit about IV, right? The higher the implied volatility, especially when it comes to earnings, the more the price needs to move for the value of those contracts to go up. And so I've had that lesson. You know, I burned my hands a couple of times playing with IV and earnings. But this time around, I really wanted to document how is it that contracts are impacted when you have high IV and you have earnings, especially with something like NVIDIA. So what I want to show y'all is exactly what I did over in the trading chat room in my Discord. So this morning, before the market opened up, I went in and I added 4 contracts of NVIDIA to my watch list. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Right here. So I went in and I added 4 contracts of NVIDIA. Holistic Henry says, okay, cool, thanks, can appreciate that. Life is busy at times. You know it, bro. You know it. You ain't never lied. All right. So here we go. Let me move this down. Bring this down just a little bit. All right. So what I did was I added 4 contracts, and my bad, y'all can probably barely see this, but I went into Robinhood and I added 4 NVIDIA contracts to my watch list. And then I made them a notation of what the implied volatility was for each one. So we added 2 contracts that were expiring for tomorrow, 5/24, one that was in the money and one that was far out of the money. And then we notated the IV and we notated the price of the contracts before the market opened. And then we notated what it was after. Now I didn't have it here, but I'm going to show y'all. So I went to Robinhood and these are the contracts that I added. So these are the contracts that I added for NVIDIA. And we have a 1090 call expiring on 5/31, a 950 call expiring for 5/31, and then a 1090 call expiring on 5/24, and then a 950 expiring on 5/24. So right when the market opened up, the 1090 call was down 17% because of the IV. And then also was the 1090 call that was expiring tomorrow was down 52%. Now, both of the contracts that were in the money that were at 950, those were both up immediately when the market opened. This is right at 6:30 or right when the market opened at my time. And then I gave a 5-minute update. So not too bad. The 1090 calls that were for 5/31 kind of did a lot better. Of course, the 950s were in the money were good. And then the 950s that were at in the money expiring tomorrow were over 100%. But the reason why I'm showing us all this, I don't want to bore everybody, but the reason why I'm showing all this, thank you, Hunty, for the likes, is basically for new traders out there, this is how implied volatility, one of the many factors, impacts your contracts if you're playing earnings on a stock like NVIDIA. The main lesson is you have to, if the implied volatility is high, we're talking about over 100%, over 130%, you need to get contracts that are deep in the money, especially if you're expecting a big move like NVIDIA did today from the after hours trading in the pre-market. If you can't get contracts that are deep in the money, then at a minimum, you've got to buy yourself some time in the future. So a further out expiration date, which is what we can see here. Even the 1090 calls that expired May 31st weren't down that bad as opposed to when the market first opened right here, just to show y'all. So that was the long and short of it. That was something that we really paid attention to, and I documented it. That way we have it as a resource, and you can go back to it in your mind when you're thinking about playing earnings on these companies that are like NVIDIA. All right, so we got 305, or is it 805? 805 says, how much money did you make today? I made about, what was it, like $200 or something like that. Let me go check on the screenshots. Let me go check here. I don't think I have both of them in here. This was the first trade of the day, and it says that was $70. I think the next one was like $80, so maybe like $160 for the day. Nothing too crazy. Here are the trade screenshots. I didn't trade NVIDIA earnings. We only placed some puts to the downside on both Google and Amazon, and I kept my trades very, very conservative. I took some small trades, got to about 10%, 15%, something like that, as you can see here. Then I got out. Hunty, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes. But wanted to tap in, see how everybody did, how everybody traded NVIDIA. Did we all make some money? I didn't play it. I've had my hands burned way too many times playing earnings, so I decided to keep it safe. But most importantly, the number one thing I want y'all to do is to make sure you log your trades in your trading journal. That's one of the number one things, especially if you're a beginner trader or a trader who's struggling to get profits. One of the number one things that helped me and that turned my trading around was keeping a consistent trading journal and a backtesting log. So if you've already logged your trades in your journal, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you've logged your trades in your trading journal. All right, Anna James says, do you know what you're watching for tomorrow? I haven't looked at the charts quite yet for tomorrow. Honestly, I think as long as Google and Amazon are still in their same downward trends, they can still be good plays for tomorrow. They can still do the same thing. Come on up, look for something near the trend line and catch some puts to the downside. We could do the exact same thing we've been doing all week, Anna. Catching those puts as soon as they bounce off the trend line. That would be my first kind of like inclination on what I would do for tomorrow. No guarantee, but that's just where my mind's already oriented. That's been feeding us all week, so that'll probably be the number one thing that I do. Big shout out to Hunty for liking the live. Big shout out to Anna for logging her trades in her journal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Salute, salute, salute. So I just wanted to tap in. Yo, we ran up 6K likes really, really quickly. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you. All right. So thank y'all. We have some good questions. I really appreciate the person that asked me about my long-term portfolio, because that's the whole goal, right? We want to take our trading profits and then put them to work somewhere that'll take care of us in the future. We just don't want to make our profits go to waste or to spend them or just have them disappear. We want to take those extra dollars and put them to work for us. But yeah, so that was it, man. I just wanted to see how everybody did. I know on the East Coast, people are probably getting off work. Of course, Hunty. He says, thank you. I appreciate the time. Off top, man, off top. I look forward to tapping in with you. But with that being said, I appreciate all y'all for rocking with me. I don't have that set schedule just yet, but anytime I go live, I always get a lot of love from the TikTok community. And we'll be tapping in and talking soon. All right, y'all. Peace.